really, more like Jane Russell. And then the Virgin Mary in the Clearwater, Florida, on the side of a building. Believers there to be healed at this icon. We went there on Good Friday a couple of years ago. Dawkins, myself, and the amazing Randy, just to give you perspective. It's a 3-story image there. Candles all over the place. Worshipers. There's so much wax, candle wax, on the pavement of the parking lot. They had to put that granulated stuff they use in auto shops to soak up the grease. It turns out wherever there is a sprinkler system and a palm tree, there is an image on a window. Some of them are just these sort of random, but sort of kind of like that image. But there's one on the backside that looks just like the Virgin Mary that they started to wipe off, because I guess you can only have one miracle per building. But you can see the sprinkler here. You can see that where they cut the palm tree off there. You can see that where it used to be there, right? So we always have to ask, what's more likely, this explanation or that? Is it really a miracle of Mary, or is it more of a miracle of Marge? And then, as a final example of this, auditory patterns pop out, particularly if they have religious meaning to them. Here is the most famous rock song of all time, usually rated as the top rock song of all time. I will actually have to use this microphone this way.
If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed there. It's just a sprinkling for the May Queen. Yes, there are 2 paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on.
Okay, so that's forward. I'm not sure what it means, but there's a web page, reversespeech.com, that has all these supposedly hidden messages embedded in the songs if you play them backwards. Not just songs, it's speeches and so on. But this is the most famous example where you can allegedly, when you play this backwards, you can hear these, well, religious type words. And so, but I'm going to play it first for you without the words on the screen. See what you can hear. Did you get it? What'd you hear? Hey, Satan? Anything else? What? 666? Sexy. Oh, that's good, yeah. See, these things are like an ink blot. It reflects what you're thinking about. Seriously. And so here it is with the words. And then now you will hear, believe me, the Led Zeppelin did not lay down this track. This is just random noise. But when you see what it actually is supposed to say, it pops right out. Okay. That's too much. So this is a cognitive priming mechanism. When I tell you what to hear or look for, then you see it, particularly when the data is grainy, you can't quite make out what's going on. Then, in other words, it's a data theory thing. The theory tells you what the data says, particularly when the data are kind of fuzzy, which is what when I met Al Gore, I said, this is the problem you have of selling this whole global warming business. People that have a non-global warming theory are not going to see the data in the same way. It's a big problem in science. Anyway, I'll end and then introduce Dan with this nice little fun, positive example of science education. That is, what can we do about all these kinds of little problems? And This has to do with a nice little thing that Simon Singh did. Simon Singh is a British particle physicist who essentially stopped doing research to do science education. He writes popular books like The Big Bang and a book on Fermat's theorem. He has a television series in the UK on science, Theater of Science it's called. Anyway, Simon writes op-ed pieces about different things having to do with science and correcting scientific mistakes. And in England, there's a popular singer named Katie Melua, who's sort of the Norah Jones of the UK. She's had several #1 hits, and they have to do with, of course, love and things like that. And one of her most popular song is a song called 9 Million Bicycles. It has to do with, you know, how many bicycles there are in Beijing, and I love you even more than that, and that sort of thing. And here's the passage that Simon wrote about. Okay, 1 second here. Sorry, hang on.
Light years from the edge, that's a guess. No one can ever say it's true, but I know that I will always be with you.
Okay, so Simon writes in this op-ed piece in The Guardian that, well, it's not 12 billion light years, it's 13.7 billion light years. And it's not a guess. I mean, we really know. And finally, after decades, we know within a well-defined range of error bars exactly how old the universe is. And you know, it's not. We've been working on this for a long time, and it's not that no one can ever say it's true. We can say not true with a capital T, but you know the way science works is provisionally true, and we're getting closer to the truth. So he goes on and on about this, and this gets published. And about a week later, he gets a call from Katie, who says, "I'm so embarrassed. I was in the astronomy club. I should have known better." So bless her, she recut the song.
We are 13.7 billion light years from the edge of the observable universe. That's a good estimate with well-defined error bars. And with the available information, I predict that I will always be with you.
Yeah, let me play it again here. Let's see.
We are 13.7 billion light years from the edge of the observable universe. That's a good estimate with well-defined error bars. And with the available information, I predict that I will always be with you.
How's that for a little triumph of science education? And okay, 1 second here. Yeah. That's very good. Okay, for the real reason you're here. All this, of course, is a lead up to this. This is a problem of patterns that have deep religious and emotional commitment to them. And Dan Dennett is one of the great minds of our time. I was going to say 20th century, but hey, it's 21st century now, so he's still with us. He's probably the philosopher with the most training in science and background in science, or at least the application of science to his work, Consciousness Explained, Darwin's Dangerous Idea. His book he lectured for us 2 years ago, Freedom Evolves. Several books on consciousness, Sweet Dreams, and Brainstorms about the problems of studying consciousness. And his latest book, Breaking the Spell, that you see on the screen there, is his philosophical and scientific approach to the study of religion as a natural phenomenon. Dan is a philosopher at Tufts University. I had the privilege of spending a week with him on a boat in the Galapagos. It was a great treat to see him sitting there on the beach building a sandcastle. I'm thinking, we got to get a picture of this. Here's one of the great philosophers of all time, and he's building sandcastles on the beach. And in fact, he's building sandcastles of knowledge and wisdom for us all. Dan Dennett.
Thank you very much. I was at the same conference in Monterey with Michael, and at the end of this conference, which is very intense and very serious, there's a fellow who always does a sort of a comedic